Today, we've got a brand new story to share with you, one that's real, raw, and something a lot of people might relate to. So let's begin. Let me introduce you to William, a regular guy, a husband, a father, and a man who, up until recently, thought he had it all figured out. For the past 7 years, William has been married to Florence. Together, they have a 5-year-old son who means everything to him. If you asked William to describe his life in one word, he'd probably say stable. And that's exactly how he liked it. He worked hard, full-time job, steady paycheck, no crazy spending habits. He wasn't rich, but he made sure his family had everything they needed. A nice home, good food on the table, and a sense of security. He took pride in being a husband and a father. For William, that was his purpose. Florence, his wife, was a little different. She was ambitious, career-driven, always on the move. While William was happy coming home, eating dinner as a family, and watching TV, Florence was always buzzing with energy. She had social events, work dinners, and weekend conferences. But William never saw that as a problem. That was just who she was. In his mind, they had a good balance. He was the steady one, and she was the go-getter. And sure, marriage wasn't as exciting as it used to be, but that happens, right? They were comfortable. They had built a life together. And as far as William was concerned, everything was just fine. But here's the thing about life. Sometimes, the cracks are there long before you notice them. And by the time you do, it's already too late. So one evening, Florence casually mentions that she has a weekend work retreat coming up. Nothing out of the ordinary. She's been to these things before, team building, networking, all that corporate stuff. William doesn't ask too many questions. Why would he? It's work. She tells him it's mandatory, and she'll be gone from Friday evening to Sunday night. He nods and says, "All right, have a good time." She kisses him goodbye, reminds him to pick up their son from soccer practice, and then she's gone. No big deal, right? Just another weekend. Just another work event. At least, that's what William thought. But what if I told you this weekend wasn't about work at all? What if I told you Florence wasn't where she said she'd be? And what if I told you, in just a few days, William's entire world was about to come crashing down? Because what happens next? Well, let's just say, this story is far from over. Stay with me, because this is where things start to unravel. It's a Saturday night. William is at home, sitting on the couch, watching a cartoon with his 5-year-old son. It's just another quiet evening. Nothing unusual. His wife, Florence, is supposed to be at her work retreat. And then his phone buzzes. Once. Then again. And again. And then it won't stop. At first he ignores it. Probably just some group chat blowing up about something random. But then the notifications keep coming. Texts, missed calls, even Facebook messages from people he hasn't talked to in years. Confused, he picks up his phone. The first thing he sees is a message from his coworker. "William, have you seen this?" Then another. "Bro, I don't even know what to say. I'm sorry." His stomach tightens. What are they talking about? And then someone sends him a link. Now, at this point, William doesn't know what he's about to see. He's not thinking about Florence. He's not even nervous yet. He just clicks the link like anyone would. And that's when everything stops. The video loads. It's grainy, filmed in low light like it was taken in secret. But the people in it? Completely recognizable. There she is, Florence, his wife, sitting on an intimate setting hotel balcony, a drink in her hand, laughing. And she's not alone. Sitting next to her is Rex Miller. Yeah, that Rex Miller. The famous athlete. The guy all over the sports channels. The guy women throw themselves at. And Florence? She's sitting close to him in lovey-dovey way. William watches frozen as a video cuts to photos. This time it's in a hotel room. Florence and Rex kissing. Then more. At this point, William is in complete shock. His hands go numb. At first, his brain refuses to process what's in front of him. This has to be a mistake, a prank, Something taken out of context. But no, this is real. And worst of all, it's everywhere. The internet is tearing into it. People are sharing the video, making jokes, and creating memes. The comments are brutal because the athlete is rumored to be in a relationship with another celebrity. This leak was likely from an insider who wanted to expose the athlete's secret affairs. William feels sick. He doesn't even remember putting his phone down. His son is still sitting beside him, completely unaware of what's happening. 7 years of marriage. 7 years of trust. Gone. And the whole world is watching. And the worst part? He's the last one to know. But here's the question. What does William do next? How do you even begin to respond to something like this? Well, let's find out. William is sitting there. His brain is scrambling for answers. Maybe there's some explanation. Maybe he's missing something. But deep down, he already knows the truth. But he has to call her. He needs to hear it from her. So, he dials her number. Once. No answer. He tries again. Nothing. By the third time, his chest is burning, his jaw clenched. Why isn't she picking up? She always picks up. Finally, on the fourth call, she answers. But the moment he hears her voice, something is off. She's crying. Panicked. Not the guilty kind of crying, but the kind that sounds like someone who just got caught. William, oh my God. I was about to call you. I swear I don't know what's happening. Her voice is shaky, rushed. She's breathing too fast, like she's trying to keep control. But William doesn't say anything. He just listens. William, you have to believe me. It's fake. That video is fake. Someone's trying to ruin me. Fake? The word hangs in the air. William blinks, trying to process what she's saying. Fake? How? He just watched the whole thing. He saw her face and watched every move she made. How could it be fake? But Florence is sticking to her story. Her words come fast, frantic. It's been edited. Someone's trying to blackmail me, I swear. You can't believe everything you see online, William. And, for a split second, he almost wants to believe her. Because believing her means none of this is real. It means his wife didn't betray him. It means his life isn't about to crumble. But here's the thing about guilt. You can hear it in someone's voice. And right now, Florence doesn't sound shocked. She sounds desperate. So now William is stuck in this moment. His wife is crying on the phone, swearing on everything, begging him to believe her. The internet is saying otherwise. And in the back of his mind, one question keeps repeating over and over. Is she lying? Or is she telling the truth? Well, he's about to find out. He makes a decision. Not to argue. Not to accuse. Not yet. Instead, he simply tells her, "Come home. Now." She hesitates for a second, then agrees. "Okay, I'm coming." And then, William waits. Minutes feel like hours. He barely moves from his spot on the couch, staring at the door, his mind racing. His phone keeps buzzing, more texts, more missed calls, but he ignores them. He's waiting for one thing and one thing only, Florence to walk through that door. And finally she does. She steps inside, her face already tear-streaked, her hands shaking. "William, please, I swear to you." But William? He doesn't say a word. No accusations. No yelling. He just looks at her. And the silence? It's heavier than any argument could ever be. Florence stands there, waiting for him to react. To break down. To scream. But he doesn't. Instead, he calmly walks past her, picks up her phone off the counter, and slides it into his pocket. She freezes. "What are you doing?" Still, he doesn't answer. Instead, he grabs his keys and leaves. Because he already knows arguing won't get him the truth. But technology will. William drives straight to his friend's place, a guy who's always been good with tech. The kind of guy who knows how to dig deep into a phone's location history. He hands him the device and says just one thing: find out where she's been. His friend doesn't ask questions. He just gets to work. And what he finds? It rips away any last shred of hope William was holding onto. The GPS data is clear. Florence was never at a work retreat. Not even close. The timestamps match exactly with the night the video was taken. The location? The same hotel where she was caught with Rex. No glitches. Cold, hard proof. William sits there, staring at the screen, his breathing slow and measured. He doesn't react. But now he has the one thing Florence never expected him to have. Undeniable evidence. And when he goes back home, she won't be able to lie her way out of this one. William walks back into the house. Florence is standing in the kitchen, arms crossed tight over her chest. She looks at him, searching his face, trying to figure out what he's thinking. He doesn't slam the door. He just reaches into his pocket, pulls out her phone, and slides it across the table. "I know where you were," he says. His voice is calm. Florence's eyes flicker to the phone. Her hands tremble slightly, but she stays quiet. "I know what you did," William continues, his tone steady. "So this is your chance. No more lies." For a second, she just stands there, frozen, like her brain is still trying to figure out an escape. But there isn't one. And then, she breaks. Tears spill down her face as she collapses into a chair, burying her head in her hands. "William, I'm so sorry." He doesn't move, doesn't speak, just watches her fall apart. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she cries. "I don't even know why I did it." And then, the begging starts. "Please, William, please. Don't leave me. Don't break up our family." Her words are coming fast now, desperate, but William? He just stands there. 7 years. 7 years of love, of trust, of thinking they were building something real. And now, it all comes down to this. She's crying. She's pleading. But nothing she says can take back what she's done. Now, here's the part where most people would expect some kind of explosion. A screaming match. Maybe even broken dishes, or a slammed door. But William? He does none of that. He doesn't yell. He doesn't cry. He doesn't even ask her why. Because honestly, there's nothing left to say. Instead, he turns and walks to their bedroom. Opens the closet. Pulls out a duffel bag and starts packing. Florence watches him, eyes wide. What are you doing?" "I need time," he says, his voice flat. Empty. "I need space." She jumps up, panics all over her face. "William, please. Don't do this. We can fix this." He zips up the bag, slings it over his shoulder, walks past her without another word. Because right now, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to handle the pain sitting like a weight in his chest. He doesn't know if this marriage is something that can ever be fixed. He just knows he can't be here. Not right now. So, he grabs his car keys, loads the bag into the trunk, tosses in some camping gear, and without another glance back at the house, he drives straight into the woods, where the only thing left to face is himself. And out there, surrounded by nothing but silence, William has one decision to make. Does he stay? Or does he leave it all behind? Well, that's what we'll find out next. So now William is exactly where he needs to be, alone. Just him, the open woods, and the weight of everything he's been trying to process. But here's the thing about solitude. It doesn't silence your thoughts. If anything, it makes them louder. Sitting by the fire, staring at the flickering flames, William finally lets himself feel everything. For the first time since this nightmare began, he speaks, not to anyone, just to himself. Out loud. Because maybe, just maybe, if he hears his own voice, he can make sense of the mess in his head. Why? That's the first question. Why would she risk everything we built? 7 years. A home. A family. Wasn't that enough? Wasn't he enough? He tries to replay their marriage in his mind, looking for the moment where things changed, the moment she started looking for something or someone else. Maybe he had missed the signs. Maybe he had been too comfortable, too trusting. Or maybe it had nothing to do with him at all. Then another thought creeps in, one he's been trying to avoid. What does Rex have that I don't? It's an ugly question, but it lingers. Was it the fame? The money? The attention? Did Florence get bored with stability? Did she crave excitement, the rush of being with someone untouchable? And if that was the case, then what did that make him? Just the predictable, steady husband she settled for? The weight of the thought presses down on him. Did she ever really love me? That question stings the most. If the answer is no, if he was just the safe choice, then their entire marriage was built on a lie. That's worse than the betrayal itself. Because if she never truly loved him, then nothing they built together, no moment, no memory, was ever real. And if she did love him, if she truly did, then why wasn't he enough? He leans forward, resting his elbows on his knees, rubbing his hands together, as if that will somehow stop them from shaking. His head feels heavy, his chest tight, as if every breath is a struggle. He doesn't know what hurts more, the idea that Florence never loved him the way he thought, or the possibility that she did and still chose to betray him anyway. Now, he has to make a choice. Can I forgive this and move forward? That's the hardest question of all. Florence begged him to stay. She swore it was a mistake. She cried, pleaded, and promised she would do anything to fix this. But does he believe her? Can he ever look at her the same way again? Sleep next to her without wondering who else she's thought about? What if this wasn't a one-time thing? What if, years down the line, she does it again? And even if he forgives her, there's something bigger, something that has nothing to do with love or trust. How do I protect my son from this mess? That's the thought that makes his stomach twist. No matter how much pain he's in, his son is the one who matters most. A 5-year-old who doesn't understand what's happening, who still sees his mom and dad as a team. If William walks away, how does he explain that? And if he stays, what kind of example is he setting? Then there's the part of this betrayal that he never even considered. This isn't just something private. It's public. Friends, family, coworkers, everyone knows. The video is out there. The comments, the memes, the whispers behind his back. He can already imagine the looks and the pity in people's voices when they talk to him. If he forgives her, if he chooses to stay, will he ever truly escape the humiliation? He exhales, watching the cold air leave his lips. The fire crackles beside him, but he barely feels its warmth. For 7 years, he thought his life was set, his marriage unshakable. Now he doesn't even know who he is anymore. And so William sits there, alone, knowing that by the time he leaves these woods, he has to make a decision. Does he fight for his marriage, or does he finally let it go? And that, my friends, is something only he can answer. Days have passed. The fire has burned down to embers. The food he packed was almost gone. And now it's time to decide. William wakes up to the sound of birds in the distance. He sits up in his tent, rubbing his hands together for warmth. But he knows it's not just the cold making him feel numb. It's the weight of what's waiting for him once he leaves this place. He knows he can't hide out here forever. Limbo is not a life. The decisions he makes today will define his future. There's no easy answer, no perfect solution. But there is one truth he can't ignore. Florence made her choice. Now, it's time for him to make his. By the time he pulls into the driveway, the weight in his chest has settled into something firm. Heavy, but solid. Final. Florence is waiting inside, sitting on the couch, eyes red and swollen from days of crying. She jumps up when she sees him, hope flashing across her face. William, thank God, I was so worried. Please, let's talk. But he doesn't let her finish. I'm packing my things. The words land like a hammer between them. The hope in her eyes vanishes, replaced by raw panic. No, William, please. You don't have to do this. We can fix this, I swear to you. He walks past her, straight to the bedroom, opens the closet, starts pulling out his remaining clothes, shoving them into this new bag. He can hear her behind him, sobbing, begging. By the time he's done packing, she's on her knees, hands clutching at his, her voice breaking between sobs. "Please, I'll do anything. Don't throw this away." He finally looks down at her, and for the first time he realizes something. She's not crying because she lost him. She's crying because she lost control over him. And that's all the clarity he needs. He picks up his bag and walks out. This isn't how he thought his marriage would end. But sometimes, endings aren't meant to be beautiful. Sometimes, they're just necessary. And that, my friends, is how William's story ends. He lost his wife, but in the process, he found something more important himself. Because in the end, staying in a broken marriage isn't strength. Walking away from something that no longer serves you, that's real strength. What would you have done in his place? Would you have stayed or walked away? Let us know in the comments. And as always,